In this experiment, you will learn the test for glucose using glucose test strips. Note the colour of a glucose test strip. Add a drop of glucose solution to the well of a spot plate. Dip the strip into the glucose solution. Remove the strip immediately and wait for 30 seconds. After 30 seconds, observe any colour changes of the strip. Compare the resultant colour change of the strip with the colour chart on the side of the strip container. Repeat the steps with distilled water instead of glucose solution as a control. Compare the results of glucose test strips after dipping into glucose solution and distilled water. What conclusion can be drawn from this practical? In this experiment, you will learn the test for reducing sugars using Benedict's solution. Label 2 test tubes as A and B. Add 2 cubic centimetres of glucose solution to tube A and 2 cubic centimetres of distilled water to tube B. Add 2 cubic centimetres of Benedict's solution to each tube. And mix well. Place the test tubes in a boiling water bath for 5 minutes. Shake the tubes at intervals. After 5 minutes, observe any changes in the mixtures. In this experiment, you will learn the grease spot test for lipids. Add a drop of cooking oil to a piece of filter paper. Mark the position of the oil spot with a pencil. Add a drop of distilled water next to the oil spot. Mark the position of the water spot with a pencil. Hold the piece of filter paper up against a table lamp to examine the 2 spots. Put the piece of filter paper on a watch glass and leave it there for about 10 minutes. After 10 minutes, examine the filter paper again. Using a pair of forceps, hold the piece of paper and dip it into an organic solvent. Slightly move the paper in the solvent. Take it out and allow it to dry in the air. After the filter paper has become dry, examine the filter paper against a table lamp. Note any change on the filter paper. In this experiment, you will learn the test for starch using iodine solution. Add 2 drops of starch solution to the well of a spot plate. Add 2 drops of iodine solution to the same well. Observe any colour changes. Repeat the steps with distilled water instead of starch solution as a control. What conclusion can be drawn from this practical?